I'm a line. Bad bitches, every city in my tribe. Look behind. Booty dominate.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm wondering, are you say you're a feminist? Well, why are you a feminist specifically? Why are you a feminist? Why do you support this thing, feminism?
Because I
Yeah.
think people should be freed from oppression.
And you think women are being oppressed?
I think a lot of people are being oppressed under different systems, and I think feminism has
Doesn't
critiques regarding those systems.
I love my girlfriend. Does that mean I'm oppressing her? I mean, let's can we stop making things up for a moment, please? I mean, this is just,
I didn't make that
you
claim.
know. Well, you're saying women are being oppressed, and I don't understand why you would make
I
such
said
an
many people
outrageous.
are being oppressed under different systems.
Okay, so then why do you make up fake words and, fake things for just anger, right? You just want to make people angry, like patriarchy. Why do you
What
make
fake word?
like
So,
patriarchy,
what
right?
do
Why
you
do you
mean
make
by
that up?
patriarchy is a fake word?
Well, it's a word that describes fake things that doesn't exist, right? It's not real.
Okay,
The
so could
things
you
it
tell me
describes.
what a patriarchy is?
Oh, well, to my understanding, what they're saying is that, in general, men are just dominant and they just don't care about women and they think that women are second class citizen and that women have no right. And it's
So
you
wait,
know
wait, wait, wait. I really want to make sure that you and I are on the same page when it comes to definitions. Now, is this your definition or is this your what you've like looked up to be the definition?
it's my interpretation of the whole feminist ideology, but if you want the actual
Well, I'm asking
definition,
you to define patriarchy.
oh, you want the actual literal definition, I can
Well,
get
because
that
you
for you.
said it's a
Give me 1
fake
minute.
word. And so
Do
I'm
you
trying
want the
to
actual
we're trying to
definition?
work that argument out, that patriarchy is a fake word.
Do you
So
so
I'm
do you
trying to
want the
understand
actual
what a fake
definition?
word is, meaning that is this just a word that does not have a definition? Or is this a concept that does not exist?
I don't know what you're asking me. Do you want me to tell you what I understand what patriarchy is?
Well, I'm trying to understand
Okay.
your claim. And your claim is that we're making up fake words, which I mean, it is kind of a silly claim to begin with because like literally language is just we all is made up. And when you say fake word, I don't know what that is. So
So
I'm
instead
asking you
of
what a fake word
so
is.
instead of defending your wild claims and your wild, frankly
Well, I
bullshit
haven't
claims,
made
you want to
any
argue
claims.
semantics. That's what you want to do. You want to argue semantics. Well, this means one.
No,
But
I
it's not.
want to
It's
understand what
let's
you
get
are
down to it
saying.
first. Hold on. Let's get down to it. You want to know my definition or what I understand,
You
patriarchy
said
is.
that we're making up fake words. And so I'm asking you,
Yes.
what is a
You
fake word?
because you want to make people angry, right? You want to make sure that society is
Wait,
just
wait, wait, wait. Let's take this step by step. What is a fake word?
a fake word is a word that people make up to describe fake things. That's what it is. For example,
Okay, so the
patriarchy.
word
Hold on,
is
hold
real.
on, hold on. Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Patriarchy is one of them, right? That's one word. Another
Okay.
word
Wait, wait, wait.
is,
Let's start with patriarchy. Let's start with patriarchy.
well, I just
Patriarchy
want
is
to
the
get,
first
yeah.
example of a fake word. So the word obviously
And
exists.
feminism. And feminism is
What?
another fake
Okay,
word.
so we'll let's start one by one. Don't worry. You seem to like want to go through this really quickly. I mean,
Well,
men
yeah, I just
don't
want to
last a
unearth your
long time in
bullshit,
a lot
right?
of things,
That's what I
but I
want
would
to,
like to think that you can actually, with have some stamina in the debate. So, patriarchy. You've defined it as when men don't like women, they're second class citizens and they dominate them.
That's what the idea of these, of the whole idea of patriarchy. That's what they're saying. It's a society that's built where men are just, they absolutely dominate everything, and women are just being kept, down. That's what they believe, right? That everything is
So,
against women and
no, I
everyone.
would say a patriarchal system is where men hold a predominant amount of power and women are widely excluded. And I think under that ideology, we can see that there's a ripple effect to where other things are true. When women are widely excluded from avenues of power, then it does put men in a position of domination, and then
So,
women need to submit to men's power.
so
So
you
that's
just
kind of the
paraphrased what
structure
I
of it.
said, but what are you getting at exactly?
Well, I mean, I think I did a little more eloquently, but you say
Okay,
tomato and
well,
I
whatever.
say potato. So,
I'm not here to
You
try to
don't
sound
think,
smart to everyone. I just want to get down
I
to it.
know, I think we all can agree on that.
Yeah,
So you think,
I'm not a showman. I'm not going to
America
entertain.
is
You
not a
may be, but
patriarchy?
continue. I think the whole idea of patriarchy is fake. It doesn't exist. It's not real.
Okay. So when we talk about like systems of power, do you think that like people who are in leadership positions or who have positions of power, like within government, would that be a system of power?
Okay, sure. Well, okay.
Great.
What about
And
it?
people like who write laws would be in a system of power.
So you're saying that since there's more men who are congressmen, who are congress people, that just proves that women are
Well,
just
I
being
haven't
hurt and
made my
hunted down.
argument yet, but I'm
Right.
just
Well, what are
trying
you
to
getting at? That's
show
my whole
you
argument.
systems of power. And
What are you
if
getting
I
at,
can
though,
show
Kenzie?
you that within systems of power, that historically these have been held by men, wouldn't that uphold the concept of a patriarchy?
Well, men are, they're men are just leaders. They're natural leaders.
Wait,
Women
wait, wait,
aren't.
wait. We're not on that yet. I'm just trying to see if there's any
I don't know
avenue
what
that
you're
I can
arguing with.
establish that a patriarchy exists. So you agreed with
Okay.
my definition. You agreed with the systems that I have identified as ones of holding power. And then you've even agreed that men are predominantly, historically, within those systems. So how are we not in a patriarchy?
Because this system actually helps women. It doesn't hurt them. It actually helps them.
Wait, wait,
Right?
wait. It doesn't have to do with the
Let me finish.
benefits.
Let me finish.
It has to do with
But
the positions. So men are in these positions of power, correct? We agree on that, right?
but what are you getting at? It doesn't. It's not an agreement or disagreement. That's just a fact. What are you
It
getting
is.
at,
If
Kenzie?
we
Get
agree
to
on
it.
the definition,
No, this is
and
not.
when
No,
we're
hold on. I
looking
want to
to
make one
see,
thing clear.
one
It's
second.
not a. It's not a
If we
definition
agree
thing.
on the
It's just
definition
true.
and we agree that these criteria need to be met in order for this concept to be present, and then the criteria is met, wouldn't that say that the concept exists?
Okay. Who's stopping? For example, Congress. Who's stopping women from being congresswomen? Who's stopping them? Please tell me. What's stopping a woman, you, from being a congresswoman or any other
So
woman?
if we look at the constructions of
No, no.
men
Answer
and
my
women,
question.
I am answering your question. I've
I use
literally said
Congress as an
5 words.
example
Why are you saying I'm not answering your question?
because you're moving away. Just answer the question.
I'm not. I am answering the question. How many words do I get?
Okay, go ahead.
How many words do I get?
Go ahead. Answer it.
Oh
I
no,
want to know what you
so I
have to
don't have a
say.
word limit?
Go ahead. Answer the question. What stops
Okay.
women from being
Great.
congresswomen?
You actually just went to do it because you said men are better leaders than women. So it's these social constructions that we have regarding our gender, if you want to call them what we perceive as masculinity and femininity. Men have been prescribed a role under the patriarchy that they are leaders, that they are more competent, that they are more capable, which is why when women go to do these positions, men are seen as inherently more qualified simply for the fact of being a man, not actually being qualified for the position.
So,
So,
okay.
yes, you have this preconceived notion that in positions of leadership, these are held by men. And that's because of the patriarchal structure.
Okay, well, now it seems like you're just saying words to say that, women, to excuse women for why they're terrible leaders. But I want to say this, for example.
No, because I
Uh,
actually disagree with you on that. If you
oh,
would like,
you're making
one second,
excuses. That's
one
exactly
second.
why you're making
No, it's
excuses.
not an excuse because actually women are better leaders than men. Because if we look, the Harvard Business Review did a study where they tested 19 leadership qualities, and women outperformed men in 17 of them.
Mm, wow, really?
So,
That's
no,
amazing.
men are not better leaders than women.
I want to see a woman being put into being a general or whatnot. Then we can see her leadership skills. She'll just run.
Women have
It'll
been
be
in those
crazy.
positions. So if we look at, there were some human remains discovered. I want to say at the beginning, or I'm sorry, at the end of the 19th century. And they were buried next to two sacrificial horses. They were buried with weapons all around them. And many people wrote papers on this person, what an influential leader they were in the military, how highly regarded they were. how much they had influenced people. And then in 2017, these
Kenzie,
remains were tested and they were found to be female.
Kenzie, the thing is, most people agree with me and they disagree with you, right? Women, and if they agreed with you, here's the thing. Hold on, let me
Forehead,
finish.
forehead,
Let me finish.
forehead. The
Let
dumb
me,
people agree with
but
you,
can I
and the
finish
smart
though?
people
Let me
agree
finish.
with me. No,
If
you can't finish because I just said a whole bunch of stuff and then you pivoted once again.
No, okay, no, you're saying that, oh, there was this woman from so and so ago that was found. I don't care. I don't really care. Okay, I don't care. Women
Wait, you
can't
said you
perform that
wanted to
job
see an
as
example of a
as good as
woman
men
being
can.
a
They simply
general
can't.
and a
And
leader.
and
And there are
so
many.
and so we
Stop
have to
talking.
ask ourselves. No,
Hey,
you're
stop
cutting me
talking.
off. I'm not
No,
gonna
no,
just
no,
let
no,
me
no.
finish my point.
Look, no, no. This is a matriarchy here. And I will for sure, like, I will say, as a creator on this app, I'm very open to giving people the space to speak, to having a thoughtful and productive back and forth. But when men like you and Peter and that guy before them come in with their male entitlement, talking over me, acting like it is their platform that they have built and an audience that is here to see them, I'm going to tell you to shut the fuck up. Very simple.
Are you done? Can I speak now?
So that's when you see I paused. That's typically when people are done.
Jesus, you remind me of my ex, really. But the point I'm getting to is,
Peter, or I'm sorry, that was the last guy. If you don't want to be here, you can go.
no, I want to change your mind because you have a lot of dumb ideas, and I just want to tell you why they're dumb,
Well,
and I want
you
to let the
haven't
audience know
combated
that
any of them. So
you won't
does
let
the
me get a word
patriarchy
across.
exist?
No, it doesn't.
Then tell me, why did you give the criteria of a patriarchy? And then why did I say, does this meet it? Does this meet it? Does this meet it? And then you agreed on it. And then you say it doesn't exist. How does that work?
Because when I asked you what is stopping a woman from being a congresswoman, right, or whatnot, you said, "Oh, because
Right.
most people think women are," that's what you said.
I
And
told you, yes, because of societal attitudes that favor men rather than women. That is
okay,
not a hard concept to understand.
so
You yourself do that. You
so instead of
yourself do that.
so instead of making excuses, why don't you try to understand why these standards exist in the first place? Why don't you try to do
They
that first?
exist in the first place because of false constructions of men who have used violence as their authority, which is why I want to burn down the patriarchy and get rid of capitalism,
Wait,
because these
wait.
constructions have been designed to benefit you.
Wait a moment. Wait a moment. You said get rid of capitalism. Is that
Yeah,
what you really said?
yeah.
And what do you want to institute? When you get rid of capitalism, what do you want to do after that? What do you want to
I would
institute?
like to move towards socialism.
Oh, that's interesting. So you are a woman who supports pseudoscience, who also supports genocide. It's so this couldn't be a more perfect life. I mean, this
What
is
is your
so
name?
perfect.
What
This
is your
is
name?
this is so perfect, Kenzie. I mean, it's perfect. You support genocide. I mean, these genocidal people, they were also men. You do know that, right? Maybe then you can criticize them and say, "Oh, it was patriarchy. 50 million people were killed in China because of socialism. That's what you support."
That's incorrect. And I
What do you
mean,
mean
if you want to make
incorrect?
that argument, how many people die under capitalism?
I mean, go ahead, tell us how many people die under, I don't, any system,
A
right?
lot.
But capitalism
Jesus.
doesn't kill people.
Capitalism is not working.
Can you define capitalism, Kenzie?
Yes, I can
What
define
is it?
capitalism.
What is it?
It's essentially the privatization of goods and services in the means to gain profit.
And what is wrong with that system? What is wrong with it as an economic
Because
model?
the goal of it is profit.
Yes, what is wrong with it?
Because the goal is profit. So
What
when
is wrong with
profit,
profit?
because profit occurs typically in a lot of instances by depriving people of the most basic necessities of life, by exploitation, as well as it destroys our environment. Like, I need two critiques to say that capitalism doesn't work. And number one is that it does not provide the basic needs for people in society. And number two, that it destroys our environment. I can go into even other ideologies of exploitation, corruption, violence, which I think capitalism honestly relates to a lot of violence. So yeah, we see a
So,
lot of harm under
so which
capitalism.
system has lifted the most people out of poverty in human history? Which system is it?
So wait, before I answer that, I want you to know that people made that same argument
Yeah,
that you are
this
making.
answer.
Wait. People made that same argument that you are making for slavery. That slavery
Kenzie,
was beneficial for people
just
because
that
I
harmony
just
you're
want you to
putting
know,
onto me
like,
is
this
it's
is why your
really
argument is
weird.
bad. Because when people were arguing for the benefits of slavery, it was essentially like, if I own something or someone,
Kenzie,
I'm going to want to take care of that person. I'm going to want to make sure they have a good life because I own them. And the longer I have them, the more beneficial that is for me. So I'm going to treat them well.
Kenzie,
I
I don't
don't
know
want
why you're.
to rent them, i.e., paying for labor, because then I have no investment in them. And because
Kenzie,
I have no investment in them, therefore, they won't have as good a quality of
I
life.
don't know why
So the
you're.
argument that you are making is the same argument that people made in favor of slavery. I would also argue that capitalism has put many people into poverty.
So you didn't answer my question. You simply said you support it. So answer my question. Which
I
system
did answer
has
your
lifted?
question.
No, you didn't answer my question. Which system has lifted the most people out of poverty? Which economic system? Just answer
Well,
the
I
question.
disagree with you that
Just answer
capitalism
the.
has
I never made a claim. I
his.
simply asked you a question, Kenzie. Can you
Wait,
answer it?
so when I think I
Jesus,
don't have a tally in terms of like feudalism,
I have it
capitalism,
for you.
communism, socialism, like which one? Like how can I have that kind of tally?
What?
How many
Okay.
people did feudalism help?
So you don't know. So the
Well, I'm
answer is you
asking
don't
you,
know,
how many people
right?
did feudalism help?
So I'll answer your question, but you just don't want to answer my
No,
question
no,
for whatever
I don't
reason.
think that anyone can have
It,
a categorization to where they have
you actually
collected
can. You
data
actually can,
in
and I can get
order
it for
to
you.
I don't think that anyone can have the position to where they have collected data in different systems because capitalism, I would say, is the most modern system existing like mid 18th or 17th century. Like what systems before that, I haven't researched the data on.
So the thing is, I don't know why you brought up slavery or whatnot, right? Slavery is it's
Because I'm saying you're making the same
no,
argument.
I can't get a point. So the thing is that says
Well, you said you didn't
holding a
understand, so I
human being
explained it to
under
you.
bondage and saying
What?
that okay, well, I don't think you let me talk, right? There's a difference between a system that's free and one that is not free, right? I don't know why you're equating these two together, but you said you don't know which system has lifted the most out of poverty. I'll tell you the answer. It's capitalism, right? The system you so
I
hate
think
so much.
capitalism has more people in poverty today than it has people out of poverty. I think capitalism also creates poverty.
Well, in the last 20 years, a billion people were lifted out of poverty due
And
to
other people were
capitalism.
put into poverty as well.
Not
Like
because of not because of.
capitalism, yes. I
I'm not
think you just
saying.
have
Hold
like
on.
this.
I'm not
Okay.
saying that people just there's no poverty. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there is economic and social mobility under capitalism. With socialism, everyone is equally poor, and we can look at a
No,
third.
I don't think
Hold
you
on.
understand
Can
what
I make my
socialism
point, Kenzie?
is.
Just let me make my point, and you can respond. Everyone is
No,
equally
I
poor
don't
at
think
the.
you know what socialism
Well, you just
is.
want to cut me off because I'm wrong. You don't want to let the people know what the truth is,
No,
right?
no, I'm
And so,
fully I'm
and
fully willing to give you the space to speak, but I think you're mischaracterizing socialism in terms of people being equally poor. I don't think you know what that is.
well,
Can
I
you
don't. I
define
don't think.
socialism for me?
So of course, I can, right? Socialism
Okay.
is where they say, the enterprises should be owned by the workers. That's what they say, right? And they also argue for elimination or suppression of markets for support of economic planning or some sort of, directive planning, right? That's what they argue for. That's what
So the
socialism
means of
is.
production are owned by the workers. Yes.
Yes, right. And I don't like this. It doesn't work.
Why?
And if it did work, millions wouldn't have died, and it would be flourishing today. But it doesn't work. That's why it's not here anymore. If you look
It
at
does
China,
work. I,
well,
I wait. No,
if
so China, I would say,
if
is
you
not
look,
socialist, and I don't really want to get too much off into like a capitalist. communist,
Well, you're the
socialist
one who
debate.
supports genocide, Kenzie. I mean, we have to talk about this. Why do you
If
support
you want to
genocide?
say that, then you support slavery.
No, I don't.
You do, because you made the
Slavery
same
is
arguments that
contradictory to
slave owners
capitalism.
make. And I don't think saying that supporting socialism, where the people own the production of labor, supports genocide.
So
Because
slavery,
I'm actually advocating against violence. I would argue that because people who have capital owns the means of production and exploits the labor base of their labor, that is actually being very harmful to more people. I think people should be paid for their labor, not
in
for
this,
their capital.
and people are paid for their labor. If you go to work,
They
there's
are
an
not.
hourly rate. What do you mean they are not? Well, what world do you live in, Kenzie? The world I live in.
What
I'll tell you the hold
generates
on, hold. I'll
profit?
tell you the
Wait,
world.
what
I'll
generates
tell you the
profit?
world I live in. I'll answer your question, but let me tell you the world I live in. The world I live in. If you
Okay.
go to work, you get paid on an hourly basis or a salary, right? That's the world I live in. I don't know where you come from, but that's just how it works here.
You
So
are not paid for your labor. What generates profit?
So you're saying that the labor market is simply non-existent. It doesn't exist. It's made up. It's fake.
I'm trying to explain that to you. What generates profit?
What generates profit?
Yeah,
The production and sale of goods and services. That's what generates
right. The
profit.
production of labor. So without labor, there is no profit.
I
So
never
if
said
my
that.
labor
Why are you
and my
putting words in my mouth?
production, one second, if
Why are
my
you putting
labor
words?
and
No,
my
no, we're not gonna go.
production
Hold on. You put words in
produces
my mouth.
$3,000 worth of profit in 1 hour, and I'm getting paid $9, or let's just even be generous and say $20 an hour, am I really being paid for my labor?
Repeat that again. I didn't hear you. Repeat it again.
If I go to work and my labor produces $3,000 worth of revenue and I'm paid $20, am I being paid for my labor, for my production?
Are you being paid for your labor? Well, you're not going to get all of your labor because you don't own the manufacturing products. You didn't provide the
Right.
capital
So
for
I
this
would
labor. So it's
say
not your
that's
right.
why the workers should own the means of production, because then the people who are actually generating the revenue get the revenue, not the people with capital who are just exploiting their labor.
So this is so stupid because capital is not a form of exploitation. It's not right. Providing capital is so important. Without capital, your fridge, your fucking the light you have over your head would not exist. Right? There needed to be
Well,
someone to
that's
provide.
actually not true.
It's
I
very
would
much so
actually
true.
argue under capitalism, the
It's
light bulb would have taken a lot longer.
it's very much so
Because
true.
no, because do
It's
you
not true.
know how many models that Thomas Edison had to go through in order to make the light bulb? That's not effective under capitalism.
Right? You're making a moralistic claim, right? It doesn't exist, right? We have to look at the facts. The fact is all that's all that matters, Kenzie, right? You just want us to make sure that everyone, and I like your worldview. I really like your goals, right? You want to make sure everyone is in kumbaya. You want to make sure everyone has $1 million mansion and flies in a private jet.
I
I
never made those
appreciate
claims.
I appreciate your utopian view. I really do, but
I've never made those claims.
but on planet Earth, there are limits to everything, right? You can't achieve everything you want to. So instead of supporting genocide,
I,
why not?
again, like, I don't know why you're saying things I haven't said.
Well, that's what you're saying, right? You're arguing
It's
for
not what
genocide.
I'm saying.
That's
I have made
exactly what you're
claims.
saying.
Wait, the claims that I have made is that people should be paid for their labor. I don't see how that
And
is
they are paid
unfair.
for their labor.
They
Do you
are
have a job?
not
Do you have a
justly. If you
job?
want me to add justly or fairly, I'll add that to the verbiage.
How do you define justly? Just arbitrarily? How do you define it?
Because of the revenue that is generated. So that is what I find to be exploitation. Because people like Jeff Bezos, he built Amazon and now he is exploiting his workers' labor because without them, there's no revenue. So he is siphoning money out of it. And that is creating a huge wealth inequality. Wealth inequality has become so extreme in modern society compared to even 50 years ago. I'm sure when I talk to conservatives and I ask them economically, when was America great? It's when rich people were taxed a progressive rate up to 90%. It's when unions were in place. It's when the working class actually had power in the economy, and that the bourgeoisie did not exploit them.
Okay,
So
so
that's what I am for. I am for that are actually paid for their work and not just paid for throwing money into something and
okay,
seeing if it works
okay,
out.
okay. So then, why not say let's raise the minimum wage, let's raise taxes? Why not say that rather than saying let's stick a gun in everyone's head who owns a business and say give us your business or we'll shoot you? Why not say that instead of arguing for violence?
No, when I ever said
That's
let's
what
stick a
socialism is.
gun in
Socialism
people's
argues
head,
for.
like, oh my
That's what
God.
socialism argues for. I don't think
It's
you
not
even.
what socialism
Yes,
argues.
it
It's
is. I
just
can
that
give
the
you.
means of production transfers from people to have capital to the actual workers. So it would be more co-ops. It would be under capitalism, it would be having more unions so that they have collective bargaining power, so that they're able to negotiate their rates of labor rather than having to succumb to the labor that the capitalist just sets. So yes, I'm not being unfair. The system that I want is more fair than the system that you want, which I would argue, I don't know what you do for a living, but you are more likely to be in the class that I am advocating for.
So what I do for a living is actually I work for an event-driven fund, and that's what I do for a living, right? So we're mainly focused on China
I
and
wasn't
commodities right now.
asking what you were doing for a living. You can
Well,
just tell me what class you're in. If you're in
I'm not
working
in any
class, if
class.
you
I'm
are
not
in
in any
the
class. I don't do that stuff. I'm not in any class or this class or
Yes,
that class.
yes, based on your economic mobility, you are in a class.
No, I'm not. I don't subscribe to your class stuff. I don't subscribe to that stuff.
Okay.
But let's stay on feminism. Why do you hate men specifically, Kenzie?
I don't hate men. I hate the construction of man.
What do you mean by that?
So if we're going to talk about how gender is constructed, there are certain behavior, expectations, and gender roles that have been given to each gender. So when we look at the construction of man and what behavioral attitudes that people have had or that people are expected of, we can see that under masculinity, men are conditioned to be aggressive, to be dominant, to be competitive, to be homophobic, to be
No,
misogynistic.
hold on a moment. No one is telling you. No one's telling men they have to be that, and no one is telling you you don't have. You can be masculine if you want to, Kenzie. I promise you, no one will stop you. I promise you. I don't know
No, they
why.
do. No, they do. Because I
Who's
will
gonna
say,
stop
as a
you?
woman, I do
Why?
present very feminine, but as my personality and how I approach things, I have been told many times that I am more masculine. And it is not popular to
But
be a
if we have,
woman and have a masculine personality. When men
okay,
are leaders, they're called assertive. When women are leaders, we're called bitches. When men are sexually promiscuous, they're called playboys. When women are, we're called sluts and whores. When men don't get married and have children, they're called bachelors. When women do that, they're called spinsters and cat ladies. So, no, do not tell me that women have the freedom to behave like men because we receive hate and violence when we do so.
and well, if someone is violent against you, then that's just wrong. I don't know why you have to deconstruct that, as you people like to say. But the thing is, no
Well,
one
then tell
can.
me, maybe
Hold on,
you can
Kenzie. Let me
answer.
get a
No,
word
let
out.
me
Let me
answer a
get a word
question
out,
because I
Kenzie.
just answered
But
yours.
you're
When
not
it
letting me
comes
get a
to
word out.
violence, please quit saying I'm not letting you speak. You've spoke a lot. When it comes to violence, why is that a man's issue, a men's issue?
What do you mean? Why are men violent? Is that what you mean?
When we look at violence within society, yes, predominantly it is men doing it. When it comes to rape, 99% of perpetrators are men. When it comes to homicide, it's like 85 or 90% is men. When it comes to domestic violence, more women are unalived. So,
Maybe you
yes,
should.
why is this a men's issue?
I don't know. Maybe testosterone. Maybe I don't know what it is. Right? It could be that. But what
There
I'm
you
trying to
go. Right there. The fact that you don't know tells me everything.
well, that's
Because if
not for
men
me to
were
know,
really, one
and
second,
you don't
because if
know
men
either.
were
You're not a
really
scientist.
concerned,
You're not a
I'm sorry,
scientist.
go
You
ahead.
don't know it. You're not a scientist. You don't even know it. You just make claims. By just making claims, that's
No,
what you
I
do.
have
But
researched this. This
did you?
is why, wait, this is why I am a feminist, because I think under the patriarchy, men are conditioned to be violent. And
How?
I
How?
think
How?
I'm continuing to explain that. And I'm telling you that that is the first act of violence that men experience, is that they are made to cut off emotional parts of themselves. If men do not exhibit strength, competition, what are considered masculine qualities, they're called either gay or a girl. They are emasculated, which is why we see like homophobia to be so much a part of toxic masculinity. Because typically, or not typically, often there are gay men who embrace femininity,
So the
and so
issue
they're
is this:
emasculated simply for the fact of being gay. So this
well,
construction of
homosexuals
masculine,
are not masculine; they're feminine. That's a fact. But
there
the
are
issue is,
there are many masculine homosexuals. One of the
I'm
guys
sure.
I debate with, Will, is gay, and
Okay.
he's very masculine. He
All
constantly
right.
flexes online.
Okay, so the thing is, no one, I've been called a bitch by a man many, many times. That didn't hurt my feelings. It seems like you care about what other people think about you rather than focusing on yourself. Why not do that? If you wanna dress like a man and do what a man does and be masculine, no one is stopping you. Go ahead, do as you please. I won't
They
stop you.
are stopping me. That's the
How?
whole
How?
point.
And we have
We
laws
see,
against that.
this
We
is why, this
tell
is
me
why
how.
women, let me address this. This is so when we talk about these gender roles, this is what misogyny is. Essentially, the patriarchy has constructed a box for women to stand in. You need to be this in terms of society in order to be accepted. If you step outside of that box, that is when you receive hate and violence, which we can see historically, because we can look at marginalized groups when it comes to their sexuality, when it comes to their race, not embracing certain aspects of the patriarchal idea of femininity and them receiving violence. An aspect of beauty has been very much characterized in America as whiteness.
So
And
I can wear a dress tomorrow if I wanted to. I can do that, right? And nothing's stopping me other than the fact that I don't want to. So why are you saying that some
you
people are stopping
can,
me?
but I
That's not
hope
the
you
thing.
realize that there can be social situations where other men see you wearing dresses
If I
and
wanted,
commit violence against you because you are embracing femininity and shunning masculinity.
and my Kimber 1911 sings a beautiful tune, I'll blow their head 9 feet behind their shoulders. I can dress how I want to
Right.
dress.
You,
No
you
man
can,
will tell me how to
so
dress. If I
sure,
want to wear a
say,
dress, no, no, no. If
you're
I want to wear
missing
a
the
dress, I'll wear a
entire
dress.
point that you're stepping outside of your social constructed gender. And because
No,
you have done so, you
no,
are receiving violence from the patriarchy. Like, if
no.
you agreed with me on that, then you agree with the assertions that I have made.
No, they may think that me wearing a dress is weird and whatnot, but I don't think a man would say, "Oh, I'll beat you up for wearing a dress." No man would do that. Maybe ladies will do that, but no man will do that, right? It's just it's not a manly
That's
thing. Anyone who does that
ridiculous.
is a
That's
bitch, in my
ridiculous.
personal
Like, when
opinion.
we look at marginalized groups like gay people or trans people, they receive higher rates of violence
And
because they step outside of the gender binary.
but you're talking about some people who were caught having children with having sex with children. That's what you're talking about, and they were beat by the
Well,
street. And those, yeah, yeah, and they were, they were manhandled, I'm sure. But the issue is that that's,
that that
P3BO,
that
and
doesn't
that's
address
different.
anything I just said.
You're saying that homosexuals and queer people, they get beat up for being queer and homosexual. And you know what? We
Yes.
have laws that say you can't commit violence. Is
Just
that
because the
something new
law
to
is
you?
there does not, like, it is the social constructions of the patriarchy and gender that is causing this violence. I don't know what you don't understand about that. Just because there is legal ramifications from it does not mean that the violence doesn't occur.
And people get killed. Does that mean that there we have anti-humanists people? They're just running rampant. I mean, you
I
don't
think
have
we
to.
do need to do a dissection on why people are being unalived.
And we
If
do
we
we
look,
do that already, Kenzie. We already do
you
that.
don't have any idea why men are violent. You said so yourself. And you don't think that capitalism has any kind of bearing on people on violence. You know what the statistic most correlated with domestic violence is?
What is it?
Male unemployment rate. When male unemployment rate rises, so does domestic violence, because men become violent when they under the stressors of capitalism and poverty. That's how they express it, is through
But but
violence.
but Kenzie, these aren't real men. They're beta males you're talking about. Men who abuse their own wives. See, I have a wife and a 1 year old son. I would never hurt my own child if I or my own wife. If I did that, I would be a
Then
beta
you don't
male. I'm not
understand.
a
No,
beta male.
no, you just say that.
You're
To
talking about beta
so no,
males.
wait. I'm not there. There's no such thing as beta and alpha males. That's just dumb.
Weak
Um,
men that aren't real men. They have feminine characteristics. Those you're talking about
Men
them.
who have more feminine characteristics are less violent. So
Not
no, if having feminine characteristics makes you beta, then no, alphas would be the one who are assaulting people. That doesn't
mm,
make any logical sense.
but if you hit your own
Um,
wife,
no.
you're a weak man. In my personal opinion, you're weak.
So fine, that doesn't do anything for the discussion, because I'm not here to categorize that males are evil, that males are violent. I don't have any problem with males. It's the construction around the gender that has caused males to have these behaviors that I am criticizing. I don't think males are inherently violent. I don't think that there are evil males who just beat people because they want to. There are males who are constructed to be men to fulfill certain roles, behaviors, and duties that commit bad acts.
No, I
So
understand that, but my question is, when there are men who, as you brought up that statistic, when unemployment rises, domestic abuse rises, or you brought that up. Why not go against these men and say, "Oh, these men, unemployed men, are terrible, and we should do something." Why include all men into that category? Why do that? I
I'm,
mean, it just
I'm showing that it's the stressors of capitalism. So again, I'm not blaming the person. I'm dissecting the environment, because the environment has to do with a lot with people's behavior. And I want to get rid of the root cause.
and the root cause. I know what the root cause of weak men is. I know what it is, Kenzie, and you don't want to hear it.
I just asked you why violence is a men's issue, and you said you didn't know.
I said I'm not a scientist, and you don't know either. So let's not
I
act
do
like
know, and
no,
I've
you don't. You
established
don't.
it in many different ways how it is occurring. That's the whole point. And I
Well,
want men to be freed from this, to be freed from their patriarchal construction of their gender. Because I think that harms them too, which is why I put patriarchy harms everyone. It
when you say
harms them
you want
too.
men to be free, are you talking about men to be stronger and men to be dominant again? Right?
No,
Is that
no,
what
they
you
need to
mean?
be freed from that role.
I mean, I don't know what you mean. That's what a strong man who protects his wife, who's a good man, who doesn't sleep around. That is the kind of man you're arguing for that society
No, I
should
don't
look up
think
to, right?
dominance is a good quality of men.
Well, you can argue that, but it's an inherent thing to males. Um,
It's not.
it is. It is. There's a thing called testosterone. It's
It's
a
not.
really beautiful thing. I don't know if
So,
you've
if
heard of
you
it.
want to talk about testosterone and aggression and dominance, to me, that shows that you actually don't know what you're talking about. Because again, I have researched this. I've had this conversation more than once.
And
And
so have
all
I,
men come up
Kenzie.
here and say it's testosterone,
And
which is
so have
number
I.
one. If you no, you don't.
Yes,
Number
I do.
one, if you tell me it's testosterone, then you're telling me it's all men, because all men have testosterone. So it's all men. Number two, testosterone does not induce aggression, and I have several studies to show that.
But the issue is, some men are weak and they like to hurt their own women, and I'm not denying that. But my question is, why can't we say all men should look up to a strong, fatherly man who takes care of his children, who has children, very important, and who has a wife? Why can't we look up to that and make that the ideal man? What is wrong with that? Who's strong, who's fit, who works out? I don't know what's wrong with that.
I don't know what's wrong with that in
Men
terms of a mother. Like, why can't a daughter look up to a mother who is strong, who works out, who is fit. I don't think we need to have these constructions of masculinity and femininity. I think people should be free from being put in a box to develop their own identity. Just like me, I have what I consider very feminine presenting features. But in terms of personality, again, very masculine. I should be free to possess these traits without being ostracized or told that I'm not being the gender that I need to be, that I need to change in order to fit within the confines of what a woman should be.
Okay, and I understand that point. So you're saying that since society thinks that you, as a woman, should be feminine, should have a child, and all, you think that
Should be passive, should be
yeah,
submissive, should be quiet. No.
you don't agree with that. So then, what because we have to have things we look up to, right, in society. So what do you want the ideal woman to be? Or you don't want there to be an ideal woman?
Again, I think each person should construct their own identity in terms of what makes them feel feminine and how they want to express themselves. Obviously, I think we can all come up with really positive qualities. And I think men that are actually embracing femininity are having more social leverage in the dating market. I think that this
Mm.
traditional idea of masculinity, of wanting someone who is stoic, who is aggressive, who is highly competitive, is very outdated, and women are no longer interested in that.
So is that
They
the
want
propaganda?
someone who is
Yeah.
vulnerable, who is more in touch with their emotions, who actually sees them as an equal and a human being
So is
rather
that the
than just like
propaganda you
a
is that
fuck bag to clean their house.
I understand, but is that the propaganda you tell men so they can think, oh, if I be feminine, maybe I can get a girl? Is that the propaganda you tell men? I think that's disgusting, in my personal opinion. Or not even just you, but the idea of men need to be feminine, and maybe then they'll probably get something. I think that's terrible,
Why is
right?
that terrible?
Well, because it's not based on the facts, right? It's just
On
simply
what
not
facts?
on the
What
facts
did I
that
just
every
say in
single
terms of
girl I've been with,
qualities of femininity that men are embracing
you
that are
say that it
positive?
makes them of higher value in the dating market, right? That's what
Yes, so I said if they
I
don't
disagree.
prescribe, one second. Let me make sure that I say my things very clearly because you constantly say that I put words in my mouth, that I'm making claims that I'm not. And I think you constantly mischaracterize my statements, either because you're not listening or because you don't understand or because you're just bad
That's what
faith.
you said. I'm not mischaracterizing you.
No, I'm saying that there have been characteristics that men have, feminine characteristics that men have embraced that do give them additional leverage in the market, which
Like
is
what?
being empathetic, which is being kind, which is being sensitive, which is not being domineering, not being aggressive, not being controlling, not being overly toxic. And women like that.
Men, if a man is kind, that doesn't make him any less of a man. I'm very kind. I'll open the door for anyone.
Sure.
I'm very kind and I'm polite. I will open the door for someone. I will pay someone if they need, whatnot, right? If they need, a tip, I'll pay. You know what? I'm very kind.
I
So
don't care.
why are you saying that these are feminine attributes? They're not. They're simply
They are. Like
no, they aren't. I don't know what
yeah,
world
they
you live
are.
in.
I constantly research within different cultures what has been prescribed to
In America,
masculinity
in
and what
America.
has been, stop talking, and what has been prescribed to femininity. And yes, kind is consistently through many cultures prescribed to femininity.
Well, where I live, if you're kind, you're just known as a good man, right? If you're, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. You think that if a man is kind, he'll be called a bitch and whatnot by his
Yes,
friends or
when
whatnot?
men, yes,
That's
when
terrible.
men
Never mind.
are sensitive, when men prefer the company of women, when men are overly kind, yes, they are called gay or a girl.
What men are you with, Kenzie? This may be a you problem, but I don't know what men you have in your
No,
life.
so I don't know if I have the book back here. But Justin, God, why can't I remember
The
his
men
last name
I
right
know
now?
that kind,
Justin
amazing,
Baldoni.
gentlemen. They're called
Okay,
gentlemen. You're
great.
describing a gentleman.
Great.
They're not
So
called
Justin
pussies.
Baldoni wrote a book called Man Enough, where
What's
he
his name?
struggled with his Justin Baldoni,
How do you spell that last name? Probably Marxist.
Baldoni. He's an actor, and his Instagram was very masculine at one point. He was constantly showing pictures of him working out, um, posing without his shirt on. I mean, he's a beautiful man. No one will deny that. And then he decided to post different content, which was talking about how much he loves his wife, how much he enjoys his family and the relationships that he has. And his demographic of people who followed him predominantly went to female. Like 80% of his followers were female. And a man even commented, I think on one of the posts where he loved his wife, a girl tagged her boyfriend in it. And he replied to her tag saying, "Don't show me this gay shit." And then Justin Baldoni
Wow.
messaged him privately and said, I'm sorry, I just want to understand. What do you mean by "don't show me this gay shit" when I'm just posting a photo of how much I love my wife and saying how much she means to me? So yes, within within society,
And
we
this man
can see.
represents every man, right? Every single
Well,
man in the
you
world.
asked for
This
an
represents.
example, and so I'm giving you one that I have through my
You've given
research.
me an Instagram comment. That's what you've given me, Kenzie.
Well, so yes, because
Oh
I
God.
have given you an anecdote. You asked for one. You asked me where I'm getting this information from. And he wrote an entire book on it called Man Enough that deconstructs this in so many different avenues about being at the top of a cliff and men calling him a pussy if he didn't jump because he was exhibiting fear. You know, if you don't do this, then you're a woman because you're afraid. So
Yeah.
yes,
No.
there are many deconstructions of men being kind, being sensitive, being loving that other men reject because it's the antithesis of masculinity.
So, when a man in the world I live in, when a man is kind and he's they're called gentlemen, right? And so,
And I don't say gentleman is just someone who's polite.
oh yes, gentleman is politeness is a
I
very
don't
main
think being
attribute
polite
of,
makes you kind.
but it does make you kind, right? It makes you very kind.
No.
But what I'm saying is this
I
man
have
doesn't look
many men who are polite but not kind.
okay, polite and kind, right? If you're polite and kind, you'd probably be a gentleman. No one would
So
call you a
you tell
pussy.
me,
No,
okay, if you disagree with some of the traits I've given to masculinity or femininity, why don't you tell me?
yeah, those traits, they're not exclusive to femininity, right? I say that a man and a woman can be polite, but
Well,
that doesn't
just
make one
why don't you give me some? Why don't you give me some that you would consider masculine and some that you would consider feminine?
okay. Bravery, I would consider that very masculine, right? That's number one, right?
Okay.
You brought up that man that was you said on top of a cliff, and they said if he didn't jump off, he's a pussy. I'd
I
probably
don't
call
need
him a
you to
pussy.
explain why. I just want you to give me
No,
the
no, no.
truth.
I was using, Jesus, calm down. I was just using what you brought up as an example, right? I mean, I'll
See,
probably call him
I'm
a
not
pussy.
calm down. I'm not yelling or being irrational. I'm just saying I don't need an explanation on why you're putting bravery under masculinity.
Okay,
Just
so,
tell me
all
what the
right.
traits are.
So bravery, that's number one. Number two would be um, uh, if he can fight, right? If someone can fight and they know how to fight, I would say that that's very masculine. And if they don't know, that's very, it's very, it's
Okay,
very
bravery,
feminine. Yeah,
fighting.
yeah. Two that come off top of my on my mind right now. And I'll give you some for feminine, right?
No, wait, I want five.
Soft
I want five for masculine.
five.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Because
you're putting me on the spot.
the fact that when I ask you what is masculinity, you can come up with two is embarrassing.
You're just putting me on the spot. I mean, if you give me time, I can
Well, I
probably
mean, you're
think
telling
about
me
it.
you know
Okay,
masculinity
being a
so
great
well,
dad,
and you're criticizing
taking
me
care of your
about putting
family,
kind under
providing,
femininity. So tell me, like, you can come up with two? That's it?
being a provider. That's number three.
Provider? Anything
If you
else?
can provide, and knowing, and this is people would say, "Oh, this is not real" or whatnot. But if you know how to drive,
Stop sidetracking. Just tell
I'm
me.
answering your question, but I'm not simply going to give you one word. So I'm going to give you an in-depth
That's what I
answer.
want. I want the
Yeah,
bullet
I'll give you
point
an
list.
in-depth. right? So if you
I
know how to
don't want
drive,
that.
if you know how to drive, you're a man, right? You're very manly. I think people who
I'm so fucking cute, bitch. I'm so fucking cute.